Spasms of molten rock piled a cone 3 miles high. Rain and wind split 100 towering fingers. In time, trees strove for leverage in the fissures. After 1,000,000 years, condors and snakes took up residence. Mighty rock, carved walls adorned with chartreuse and vermilion lichen. Man yet more puny on those stones. How long will it take to see Tao until you no longer hold self-importance? Welcome to episode number 136 of the All Around Growth podcast. Before we dive into things, let's continue reading from 365 Tao. Compared to the massive movements of heaven and earth, compared to the immensity of geologic time, the greatest acts of humanity and their monuments are beneath significance. We climb the highest mountains. We dive to the depths of the sea. We fling ourselves as close to the sun as we dare, and we are not even on the scale of nature's measure. In our egotism and our view of ourselves as the center of the universe, we imagine that our lives have some meaning and importance when placed beside the stars and mountains and rivers. They do not. We cannot hope to have any true meaning in the history of the universe, but we can know it better. We can be a better part of it. If you want to know the force that keeps the sky blue, the stars burning, the mountains high and still, the rivers running, and the oceans flowing, then remove the veil that stands between you and Tao. Today's morning meditation was on insignificance. And like I said, this is episode number 136 of the All Around Growth podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. This is a show that gives you some insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. Today is Wednesday, May 26th, 2021. And in the last episode 135, we talked about keeping things the same. And the link to that show is in the show notes. And that was recorded on April 27th, 2021. Almost a month ago. So why record today? Why get back into the swing of things when I haven't been recording for almost a month? Where have I been? What's been going on? Well, that's part of the reason for today's show, is to talk about what's going on and what we can expect for the month of June. And the reason and part of the motivation to get back in the saddle again, so to speak, and record is that several people have reached out to me over the past month expressing concern, checking in on me. And a couple days ago, someone else from the audience reached out to me, and it seemed like a good time to do that, to provide an update. And without further ado, let's get into what's been going on over the past month. During the morning commute here, we're going to talk about the spring season, adjusting to the schedule change, some stress, the health coaching that I've been doing, truck repairs, my own health issues that I've been experiencing, the work on the commercial kitchen, chores and groundskeeping and everything at the homestead, and some news with the volunteer work that I do if I have time, and also the results that have come from all of these changes over the past month. So let's get right into it. A big part of the reason for the decreased amount of content being created is the spring season. For those of you who are not aware, I work full-time. My day job is at a nursery and tree farm, wholesale nursery and tree farm. And we are growers, we are producers, and we deal with a lot of material. It's hard to say how many thousands of pieces of material we have, but over 60 some acres and all this material, there's a lot going on. It's the busiest time of the year. So in addition to that, in addition to just the spring season, the days are getting longer and my schedule has changed. I used to get up very early, like 4:30 in the morning, and go to bed very early. That is getting increasingly difficult to do with the later sunsets and the earlier sunrises. Since I'm going to bed later and later, I'm not quite keeping up with the wake times that I used to, and subsequently I'm not getting the work done in the mornings that I used to. So one of the things that was suggested to me with the health coach that I do is decrease some of the things that I am actively working on in life, because I'm involved in a lot. And I decided that I was going to record less. And that is exactly what I did. And I talked about this briefly in the past couple of episodes, but I didn't really expect to take a month off. As a matter of fact, I did record a couple of B episodes, but, well, I call them B episodes because I wasn't really satisfied with the quality of the recording and the end result, because I hadn't planned appropriately. So at least I have a bit of a plan moving forward for the month of June, but we'll get back into that in a little bit. In working with this health coach, the biggest thing that's negatively contributing to my stress levels, or contributing to negative stress levels, because there is positive stress, is some of the relationships that I have with people, and some of them are at the day job. Now, the details of those actual stressors aren't really relevant, but what is relevant is that this stress that I'm experiencing seems to manifest itself in ugly ways with behaviors towards people, and I have even picked up smoking tobacco again as a bit of an unhealthy coping mechanism, and I am attempting to manage that, but I'm also accepting the fact that that is something that I do, and more on that later. Now, as far as the health issues that people have expressed concern about and the health issues that I am dealing with, it's a combination of gastrointestinal issues and neurological issues. And I've been in for CT scans of my abdomen, a colonoscopy. While unpleasant, it is something that I dealt with, and I have an upper endoscopy scheduled next week. Basically, these tests are being done to rule out a number of things that I am experiencing, and to ensure that the cause of the symptoms isn't something terrible like cancer. And as far as I can tell, I'm in the clear. So, while we're not entirely sure what's going on, it is further incentive to continue the track of a good diet and just taking care of myself as best I can. I'd also been in for another EEG due to the increased frequency of seizures I'd been having over the past few months. Luckily, over the past couple of months, I have not had any. With everything going on at the homestead, there's been a lot of work on the commercial kitchen. I've done a couple episodes about the commercial kitchen in the past, and another one is due as we are doing a little series about what it takes to build a commercial kitchen, how you can do it based on what we did, along with giving you the complete material list of what we used. So that's, in a nutshell, what's been going on over the past month. There's also been, my truck's been in the shop a couple times. Luckily, the repairs have just been minor, alternator, water pump, and I'm back to driving it today. So, based on all of that, like I said, I decreased the content creation and have some different ideas in mind for content creation, but have yet to execute on those, and we'll see what the future has in store. It may have to be tabled until winter. I will continue to focus on my health and wellness and making improvements there, and I will be following the suggestions from my health coaching sessions, and I'll have to talk more about that later. I've also been going back, or not going back because I've never went, but I began attending a Bible study. At church, things have opened up because of the lockdowns and such, but apparently everything is okay now, so we are opening back up and peopling again, and that's nice. And I've been attending a Bible study at church. I was unable to attend the Bible study before because it was held during the mornings. These are now weekly on Tuesday nights, and that is part of some of the fun things that I am doing for me. Which is one of the things that was suggested to me by the health coach. Now, that may not sound like fun to some of you guys out there, but if you're into fiction and books like Lord of the Rings, I don't see any reason why you would not be into the Bible, which is really little else than a collection of books written by different people in different eras, in different places around the world, oftentimes about different events in the past. So if you look at it through this lens, and also while referencing maps, it can be a very interesting thing to do. I've also increased the amount of family time and homestead time, and have, quite frankly, decreased the time spent and focus spent and effort and energy spent on work and the day job. And basically I've taken the position of caring less. That's what I need to do. That's a bit challenging for me to think about in that way, and maybe I'll talk more about that in the future, but just because I'm caring less doesn't mean I don't care at all. It just means I'm a little bit more selective about what it is that I care about. Now, for the month of June, I tried to record yesterday, but my phone died on the way in. And yesterday, I could tell you that it was the 145th day of the year, and that yesterday we were almost 40% complete with the year. 39.72627%, as a matter of fact. Now, by the end of June, we'll be almost halfway through the year. And when I was thinking about being halfway through the year, it got me thinking about my goals. And and I'd like to encourage you to think about your goals. Do you have any goals for the year? I did. Well, not really. Really attacking things more on a quarterly basis, to be honest with you. But my 2021 goal worksheet is in a stack of unaddressed items remaining from winter break. And that too challenges me, and that alone also gets me down. But no matter, I'm starting today, back with another show. No more excuses about not being good enough. No more excuses about not feeling as prepared as I could. No more excuses about anything. Today, we begin anew. Each week during the weekly review that I do with the Best Self Journal, I end with the question, how will you ensure next week is as good or better? And I would encourage you to ask yourself this same question for each day, each week, each month, and each year. The audience member who reached out to me yesterday, or a couple days ago rather, shared a message with me as well. And that message was titled A 3-Minute Inspirational Message for All Men. And it was by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. And I thought that was quite excellent, not necessarily or specific towards men, because I think if you are a woman or any iteration of the human species, however you identify, I think that you would find value in this as well. So I've linked to that in the show notes, and I think that that is about it. So for now, I am working on the show notes the night prior instead of the morning like I had been doing. It's just another change that I'm going to make, and it seems to work better with my current schedule and the life workload that I am currently experiencing. So hopefully that provides a little bit of detail about what's been going on over the past month and what we can expect over the month of June. Recordings won't be as frequent as they had been throughout the history of the show. Things are going to change, but I'm not really sure how they're going to change because, well, quite frankly, they still are changing. So if you like what you hear, and I hope that you do, because I hope that this show is of value to you, but if you like what you hear, go to the show notes. You can support the show at the bottom of the show. And if you listen to the show via iTunes or Apple Podcasts, there's a link to click and rate and review the podcast there. At this time, the last time I checked the statistics, most of the podcast listens were coming through via iTunes or Apple Podcasts. So if you are one of those listeners, follow that link to give it a rating or a written review. That really does help the algorithms. And if you're not, just give it a rating on your podcast player of choice and share it with a friend. Share it on social media. And ultimately, there are links to all episodes in the show notes. And if you have any questions or feedback for me, check out the community at t.me/allaroundgrowth. You can connect with me and everybody else there, along with the one who shared that 3-minute inspirational message with us. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.